stuff? Not bathing stuff.
Actually, life began way up here. It didn't take long at all.
It's funny, if you look at, I mapped the distance. I did a little conversion. And you can map the distances, and it's exactly parallel with the north runway up here.
So basically, there's no life inside the M25. So nothing. It's just an Earth just sort of bubbling away. Okay, so but on the grand scale of things, though,
It always amazes me how quickly life evolved here. That should say something for what might happen on other planets. So let's try another one. When were the first multicellular animals? So now we're going to go through sort of the primordial kind of goopy cesspool of the world, all right? So we're coming from the airport. So hands up again. Let's see how far we go. So we're coming down the M3. When do you think? Up here? Again, where are we at? The A331. Does anyone know what cities there? I didn't get the map. Actually,
it's south of Winchester.
Here's where the Cambrian explosion occurs. So you're talking single cellular life all the way from Heathrow, clear down the M3, all the way down to just south of Winchester. Now we get the Cambrian explosion, all the fun stuff is starting to happen. That's when the body forms start.
So basically, thanks to this question, not much interesting about Winchester.
All the things right there. I'm not going to make you play the game too much more.
But tetrapods crawl out.
The first thing, four-legged thing, crawls out of the water just this side of Eastleigh. And I use that dinosaur because it's a marine picture of a dinosaur. I figured I was doing a marine talk.
But dinosaurs then are pretty much just up here close to the roundabout, the Chilworth roundabout,
down to the two parks. I think it's, I forget what they're called, Hogland Parks, whatever. So the dinosaurs are just over this area. And we can actually elaborate on that a bit. And you can map this out when you're going home or next time you're going up the Interapple.
Run back and say, okay, we have the dinosaurs right here between the two parks.
Then you can go up and cow herds where we get the birds. And the first mammals came out right about the Highfield interchange. And you just map this out. Remember, that's this yellow line all the way to Big Bend. So that's something that a lot of people don't realize is how quickly. You need that variation for evolution to work. So until you start getting animals with segmented plans and things that can vary, and you can actually get some good applications, it sort of goes slowly and then it sort of just takes off. All right? I'm going to go down to a more human scale. And basically, everything outside the driveway is knuckle walkers. So here's where we get the vertical walking. Lucy out at the driveway. Now, when I came here, I've only been here once before, and I came up the elevator. So I didn't realize you could walk across the stairs. So I mapped it from here to the elevator, down, and across. So I went a slightly different way. And I'm sure it's the way I'm not supposed to leave during a fire. I'm supposed to avoid that. But basically, you see, humans then would be if you walked from here out the door to the elevator, when our ancestors came out of Africa. Now, down to about 11,000 years per foot. From this yellow line all the way to Big Bend. So we can get inside the room now and start thinking about this. So the first Homo sapiens was about 30 feet. Trying to think about, we might get the last row. Maybe. Might be human. That's about where we're looking for Homo sapiens. This is something that always amazes me. Neanderthals coexisted with humans until about here. All right? So that means that there's still going to be some Neanderthals meandering out there until here. And we can keep working our way down. So first cultivation. This is an important date when we start thinking about human aging because something happens at this point, right? So 10.5 inches, so cultivation. This far, from this yellow line all the way to Big Bend. Keep on going. Roman invasion. So the Brits started living in round or square houses right after the Romans came. That's what they say on time team anyway. So it's only that far. So that much since the Romans invaded. From here, all the way out, down the road, up the Inner Avenue, down the M3, right? And Now here we can get to your lifespans. Where's my 10p coin going? Here's my 10p coin. So I have a 5mm pencil lead at least, okay? And you're talking about the thickness of it. So think about that for a minute for an 18-year-old's life. And I don't know where my 10p coin went, but you know, if you're closer to retirement age, then it's a 10p coin. Now imagine driving from Winchester to Heathrow at 80 miles an hour with these, you know, that thickness. That's how long the world, with, you know, the single-celled animals. Drive up the Inner Avenue through the era of the dinosaurs. If you had all these little pencil leads lined up, right, packed against each other, or your 10p coin on its edge all the way up. All right? So it's an incredible, incredible long time. When I always put this in, not to make fun of creationists, but they probably think I'm crazy because I think it's from here to Big Ten. But that would be the creationist explanation. Okay, so it really is a huge magnitude difference between the two theories, or the two ideas about how old the world is. And you have to have, if you have that kind of time, and you can get your head around that kind of time, you can understand how suddenly it doesn't seem so weird that you could evolve from a single cellular organism and get all the way to us. You know, it makes a lot more sense. So, in summary, you pull together heritable variation, pull together this intensity of natural selection, thought about this huge span of geologic time, right? And the result is then you can breed, just as you can change the shape of the beak of a pigeon, if you're clever about it, you can do it very quickly. Evolution can change it without any human interference, like it does in the Galapagos Islands. In which case, the time scale here would be out to about the security desk. Okay? So it's a much, you know, you're still talking a difference between the little pencil lead and going out to the desk. So it takes a long time for natural selection to have an effect. That's the key point we're going to need for aging. Because think about civilization, you know, it's about that long. What happened to people when we started living in cities, and when the Romans came and we started living in bigger cities, and modern medicine hit? These are all happening in very, very short time scales. So something's happening. We aren't dying as early. So the pressure then is being lifted. And it's being lifted faster than evolution can catch up with it. So the answer is, and it's what you were saying about not having offspring. If you think about civilization, the effect of civilization, you can think of the strength of selection this way. So if you have age on this over here, you're more likely, before we start living in cities and before we become civilized, you're more likely to die of certain things. And with animals, we call it, in population ecology, it's called extrinsic mortality. And these are things like parasitism is a disease. Might cause it early death, predation. Again, I try to pick something aquatic for you guys. And accidents. I mean, the fact of the matter is, even if you have zero mortality or internal mortality rate, something's going to happen. You're going to trip, a meteorite's going to fall on your head. You know, something's going to get you. The idea, though, of the strength of selection falling off is that if accidents are likely to kill everybody off by the time they're 45, say, then selection will never be able to work at 100. So the gene works on 1-year-olds. There's going to be a lot of selective pressure because these 1-year-olds have all their future offspring ahead of them. If all these sort of extrinsic mortalities is just statistically killed off half of everyone by the time they're 25, then natural selection is only going to be able to work on about that half of the population that would have been able to work on if it was a gene out here. If all these accidents would have killed everybody off by 45, then natural selection isn't going to work at all on 100-year-old subjects because there aren't any. So if I was to tell you that, okay, if a gene arose, say, that caused you to drop dead on your 250th birthday, you would natural selection never see it.
gene that was going to give you 10,000 progeny on your 250th birthday. If you did it early on, it would go spread like crazy in the population. But would natural selection ever see it? No. So there's no, so this is, we call this the selective shadow. All right? Now if we go back to our mortality curve, so it always drops off. So you can imagine then that things that happen, they're getting elderly people today, like certain types of cancer that maybe happen later on in life, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, these diseases that are the old age, that if accidents would have taken people out before, they've never been selected against. Okay, so you don't know what, so you could have things that are bad happening out there that just are never selected against. But what's happened is we've moved the wall out, and it's moved out very, very quickly. Like I said, we're moved the wall out, just maybe 10.5 inches, and as we've got modern medicine, it's like only the last 100 years or so. So it's only, a couple coins from this line, all the way up to where people first evolved, way up there at the top. All right? So what we think's going on is there's relaxed selective pressure. So when you stop selecting for being immortal, suddenly weird things happen. How do you get your mind around or deal with something like this? Because you have to start thinking what could be going on there. Okay, so basically you have a situation where you have this constant rate. You see this in a lot of other animals as well. It happens with fruit flies, for example. You also get this constant rate. What kind of stuff might be going on? Well, the most intuitive one that everybody latched onto first is this idea that we just basically burn out or rust. Right? So, you know how cars rust with time, machines break down. This may come out of the Industrial Revolution and using machine, you start thinking in terms of machine. But when you eat, your food is broken down in your body in a way it's very similar to fire. What comes out, you get the energy out of the food, and the byproduct is CO2 and water, basically. So it's some of the same components you find in smoke. So the idea is that you have oxygen coming in, essentially burning your food up inside you, and the smoke coming out. And this causes can cause oxidation, similar to rusting. But this is what's going on in the last 5-10 years of aging that has caused a lot of problems. Everybody liked this for a long time, and we all went merrily along. And suddenly, though, something wasn't quite right. It turned out that when you start giving animals antioxidants, about half the time it increased their lifespan, and about half the time it shortens it. Oh, that's not supposed to happen. Also, oxidative stress. You take mice and you give them you breed mice, or this works with mice and fruit flies, where if you breed them with extra copies of antioxidant genes, sometimes the lifespans increase and sometimes it decreases. It depends on genetic background. And then there's this, it's a little bit of oxidative stress to make organisms live longer in some cases. So it's not, something is going wrong with this theory. It's starting to come apart. You get things like naked mole rats, this little critter who has high levels of oxidative damage in their proteins, but they seem to just go merrily along. So there have been real problems, and right now the aging community is kind of split. It's split to an extent where it's not gotten too nasty